What is going on YouTube? It is QuikSnoopy, and today I am doing a highly requested video. Many of you guys have been asking me for financial advice, some of my opinions on it, and my experience. So if you are new here, let me introduce myself. I am QuikSnoopy. As you can tell, I'm really young, but I have studied economics and finance a lot, for my age at least. I really enjoy studying like the personal finance aspects of things, and that's what I'm going to be giving you guys today. I currently do esports, so I do video games competitively. I travel across the world, and I talk to people, and a lot of people talk to me about finance advice, and I have these papers here. I actually went to a university, and I gave a speech on exactly what I'm giving you guys right now. So you guys can kind of see it. It's my outline. I'm going to look at these every now and then. I also have some computers, so if I look away from the camera, you guys know that I am trying to look for like a statistic or a number, maybe some notes that I have written down. But if you're here, hopefully you guys want to learn how to invest your money wisely and how to become a millionaire, and I'll give you guys my opinion on it. Right behind me, as you can see, I have one of my computer monitors, and the wallpaper says, "Your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow." And I always tell people who are interested in investing, because a lot of people tend to wait. They say, "I'll invest next year. I don't have the money. I don't know enough about investing. I'll wait and I'll invest later." And the problem with that I'm going to show you guys is going to be this little graph right here. And I'll pull it up on the computer later because we're going to do some math. Don't worry, it's not too complex. I will be talking about compound interest basically. And also a dollar cost averaging. So the first thing I want to, I guess, talk about is when I went to the college, the university, and I gave my speech on this, I took a survey, and it's this little fun fact. So out of the class full of people that I was presenting this in front of, 30% of them, an average, 30% of the students knew about stocks. 26% of the people were currently investing. So that lets me know that people who knew about how to invest and knew about stocks were currently investing. So I think a lot of the reason people don't invest is they don't know a lot about it. They don't know where to start. And but that's what that statistic shows me right there. I also, in the poll, 47% of people were employed, so less than half of the people in the class had a job or some sort of income, which will play a role later because I'm going to talk about retirement plans when it comes to IRAs, Roth IRA, traditional IRA, how they're taxed differently, and maybe we'll go into that a little bit, maybe in another video. I do want to make this kind of as short as possible, and I want to give as much detail as I can within a short amount of time. So something that we're going to take a look at here is when you look at stocks, a lot of people look at the highs and the lows because in reality the stock market is like a wave. It has its ups, its downs. It can be very unpredictable at times. And you look at maybe the high of last year, you look at maybe the low over the last few years, and you look at these numbers, and I always tell people to look at CAGR. CAGR is an acronym widely used in finance, and it stands for a compound annual growth rate. Basically what it does is it will measure the rate of return an investor might get. It's kind of like a mathematical formula, and it plays a huge role when you look at dollar cost averaging. So I'll use S&P 500 for this because I researched. That's what I used in my presentation here, and it's what's on my outline, and it's what I am most familiar with. So the reason I like S&P 500 is it has a history of that CAGR number being at 10.30%. That 10.30%, remember, is the compound annual growth rate. I'm not so much interested in the Dow Jones hitting new all-time highs as I am considered or concerned about that CAGR number. So whatever stock you decide to go with, I'm going to use S&P 500 for this one. I want you to look at the CAGR number. Okay, so anyways, calculated at 2016 when I did this presentation, it was at 10.30%. I'm going to use this number. We're going to get on the computer in a few minutes, and I'm going to show you guys some of the benefits of this. Focusing on stocks right now. What I was telling students, and these were students in a class full, maybe they were $5,000 in debt, maybe they were 15, 20. People wanted to be doctors. They're going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt probably. Like, sure, you'll make good money, right? But you're going in debt for that. People ask me a lot my history with debt. I am not trying to brag, but so I have my credit score is non-existent. I don't have a credit score. I am an adult. I attend college. I have multiple sources of income that I use. I don't have a credit score. I've never been in debt. My school didn't go in debt. I don't have any student loans. My car I paid cash for. And people, I'm going to take a side note here. People are very concerned about their credit score. They always want to, how can I get a higher credit score? Maybe the question is, can you buy a house without a credit score? And the answer is yes, you can. You can buy a car without a credit score. It's just a different route you take. And I think a lot of people are bound to these credit scores. They're bound to their debt. If you're $100,000 in credit card debt, like, you know how much that's gonna take, how long it's gonna take to pay off, right? Or for example, I worked at a company like throughout high school and stuff, and I was seeing people get these credit cards, and at the time it was like 26% interest, right? If you miss a payment, you're getting 26% interest on that. And we did financing and stuff at this job that I worked for, and it'd be like no interest financing, right? No interest until you miss a payment. When you miss a payment, all that thousands of dollars that you had is gonna get like 26% of interest upon that. So it literally can like tear people apart, is what I'm trying to say. So credit scores, not for me, but maybe you're looking to get a credit card. I don't know. It depends on your finance, right? And that's what's so interesting about personal finance, is the fact that it is different for everyone. But I'm going to give you this basic advice. So without further ado, S&P 500, 10.30% is what I calculated. It has a history of being in the 10%. My plan is that if you invest $1,000 a month, and I think that's pretty reasonable, right? Again, it depends on your living conditions. It depends on, maybe you have 2 mortgage payments. Maybe you have 2 car payments. Maybe you have children, or you have like obligations to other people and stuff. Then that'll change that $1,000 number. But $1,000 a month for 22 years. I'll show the graph on there in a minute. You can invest more than $1,000 a month, but for calculations, $1,000 a month, 22 years, you become a millionaire. Now, if you do the calculations, I don't remember what it is, right? 1,000 times 12 months in a year is 12,000 times 22 years. Run the math. That doesn't add up to $1 million though, right? I have an even better way. I can tell you how to make $1 million in 7 years. You gotta follow this plan. And I'm not guaranteeing anything in life, because I don't think anything is guaranteed in life. I don't think that, I don't think I can guarantee you anything. I don't think anybody should be guaranteeing you anything. If anyone guarantees you something in life, then maybe reevaluate, because nothing in life is guaranteed. So um, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about. I want you to think about that in your mind right now. How you make $1 million in 7 years, and how you make another $1 million in 22 years, or vice versa. A lot of people, when I'm gonna pull up my notes on this monitor here, a lot of people think that getting rich is something that happens overnight, or they invest and they want money to happen overnight. But the truth is, it's about getting rich slow, and that's a quote that everyone uses in finance pretty much. I don't have any secrets when it comes to index funds, compound interest, dollar cost averaging. Any finance advisor in the world will tell you probably what I'm telling you today, but more on like a one-on-one basis. And you're paying hundreds of dollars to this guy who's really going to maybe give you more like directed advice for each person, but I'm telling you right now, you can do research on this all. I learned all these things very young. I was 16 years old and I started working. I took an interest in personal finance, and so since then I have learned all about this. I see a lot of people who live, I have bullet points, I'm gonna kind of elaborate on them. I see people who live like week to week, or like paycheck to paycheck, right? You maybe get paid once a month, maybe it's every other week, maybe you're, whatever the case is, right? Maybe you do like contract work, you're an independent contractor. You just don't want to live like week to week, and that's why I'm doing this, I guess. Another point I want to talk on is people invest money, and when they do, maybe they figure. I see a lot of young people do this actually. I want to invest in stocks, but I only have $1,000, $2,000. I want to wait till I get a couple more $1,000s before I invest. Why? I think that you should invest the money as you earn it, rather than once a year or like once a month or whenever you have the money, right? It's all about your future is created by what you do now. Another concept I want to debunk here is that it's not about how much money you invest, or for this one, I'm talking about this. I'm talking about compound interest here, guys. It's not about how much money you invest, or how much money you deposit, but it's about your money working for you. Like a lot of people say the rich get richer, and that is very true most of the time. There's a few it's not uncommon for like professional athletes to go bankrupt, right? Or to lose a lot of money, either gambling or they just spend it or whatever the case may be. But a lot of the rich people get richer, and that's because of investing. It all goes to compound interest, right? The more money you invest, the more money you're gonna make. People think that getting rich it's not about how much you earn. Like theoretically, you could actually be a millionaire working a minimum wage job at some restaurant or whatever. Like I'm not putting anyone down, but this is possible all through this theory. And I want to run different years and different numbers, and I'm going to do that on the computer. But first, I want you guys to be informed. It's not about how much money you earn. I'm very active on like finance forums. So I tell people the same thing all the time. They say, I don't have enough money, I don't make enough money to invest, whatever the case is. Or if I made more money than I would invest. And there are like surgeons, like there are doctors who make hundreds of thousands of dollars each year, but they're worried about how they're going to pay their second mortgage on like a luxury beach home in San Francisco or something, right? Like when you're worried about how you're going to make that payment, but you have, let's say, maybe a school teacher who literally are protesting right now because they're not making a lot of money. You have school teachers who can retire and can be wealthy. And it's not about how much money you make, guys. It's about really paying yourself first, and it's about investing your money as you get paid instead of buying things. And like, there's things we can cut back on, right? Like maybe cut back on drinks, maybe cut back on going out to eat. If you have any expensive hobbies, that's something else you could cut back on. It's different for everyone. Everyone lives different lives. Everyone has different hobbies. Everyone has different lifestyles, eating habits, drinking, traveling, vacation. I'm not saying that you can't do all those things. I'm just saying that I think you should maybe lay out like priorities and how you're going to pay for everything. Okay, so talk about 401ks, IRAs, then we're gonna jump back to compound interest. I'm all over the place, I know. I get excited about these things. 401k, all right, your employer is gonna match it, right? The reason I asked why all these college students work, or how many of them work, and I took a survey, right? It's because I wanted to know simply just, do they work? That's the first step to a 401k. Do you work? Does your employer offer a retirement plan? I think teachers have something different provided by like the state. Correct me if I'm wrong, but corporate jobs and stuff, a lot of them will offer a retirement plan. And it's a 401k, and maybe they'll match it. Maybe they'll match up to a certain amount, whatever it is. If you have that retirement plan offered to you, why wouldn't you take it? I don't have that plan offered to me. I told you guys right here, I do video editing, I do like traveling for esports, I do real estate as well. Like, no one's offering me retirement plan or a healthcare or like medical, dental, vision. No, none of that, okay? But there are employers who offer you that. Take advantage of it. IRAs, if your employer does not match it, my employers do not match that. If I wanted to invest, I would look into probably a Roth IRA. I don't want to get into the differences right now because this video is already getting kind of long. Look into an IRA, Roth or traditional. Do you want to get taxed before or after? Decide that. Keep in mind, inflation is huge here. I'm talking about finance, right? We're talking about money. And anyone that has money or like studied economics or anything knows about inflation. Like, inflation is good. Too much inflation, bad. Okay, that's an economic study. No inflation, very bad. Because then you're losing money in your economy. Like, if you're actually losing money in your economy, that is an issue. But you want inflation because it gives people and it gives businesses room to adjust their prices, basically. Okay. So, 401k, there is a cap. Roth IRA, there is a cap. 401k is $18,000 is the max per year until you're 55? 55. So, the most you can put into this retirement plan, provided by your employer, is $18,000. The most you can put into a retirement plan by yourself without an employer matching it, $5,500. Those numbers typically don't change, from what I've seen. Typically don't change. And it's hard to say 20 years from now. Like, like, it's easy to look in the rearview mirror, but you can't always assume and guess what the future is going to be like. You can hope, you can predict, but doesn't mean that it's going to be the same in 20 years from now. I think that's what I wanted to cover. I will mention, before I dive into the computer on this side, companies, if you want to look into stocks, which is what we're going to look at, uh, look into companies like Fidelity and Vanguard. Uh, like, if you invest in a retirement, okay, like, let's say, backtracking, if you invest in one of these retirement plans, and a lot of people move, they quit their job, whatever the case is, roll that over into a different retirement plan. Um, Basically, how I explain it to people is roll the money from your 401k. If you lose your job, maybe get laid off, the economy, whatever, put that money into like an IRA. The problem is, I think you have a year to do it. Problem is, if you get a check handed to you, and it's from your 401k, like from Fidelity or whatever, right? And it's like money from your 401k and it's thousands of dollars, you should probably be concerned because you're going to face a lot of penalties. Like, you don't want to hold that check in your hand. Okay? You do not want a 401k check in your hand. All right? So, your employer, roll over your retirement plan. That's it. All right, and we are back on the computer this time. So I pulled up the S&P 500, right? Everyone can see S&P 500 index. Here's a fancy graph, as you guys can see. None of this matters to me. All right. The number I was telling you guys to look at is this CAGR. So you want to know about annual returns, right? And it tells you the CAGR, compound annual growth rate, ending value, starting value, number of years. It's currently, through 2017, is 10.53. What did I say before on mine? I said 10.30. So it's gone up. It's gone up since I did the speech at the university. So 10.53, this is according to Wikipedia. You can look it up on other websites if you want. March, S&P 500 closed at all-time new high. Great, this is fantastic. But that number is what you want to pay attention to. So what I'm going to do, right, is we're going to do some math. And let's jump over to that. So I mentioned compound interest. I'll put this calculator in the description. It's a compound interest calculator. It just tells you your earning of interest on investment. Okay. So before I said $1,000 a month, and I said, I just entered this in now. The CAGR is 1053. Perfect. Okay. So let's play around with these numbers. This is the fun part. This is the part that everybody enjoys when it comes to investing, right? How much money am I going to get? I will tell you that right now. $1,000 a month. That CAGR number. Look up. If you want to see how it works, look it up. I encourage you. We're going to use this 10% rate at 1053. This is going to be interesting because last year, you can already see I put the number 20 in there. Last year it was lower, so it'll affect it a little bit. But let's look at 10 years. All right, let's look at 5. 5 is reasonable. Okay. So in 5 years, $1,000 a month. Let me pull up a calculator actually. All right, so I have the calculator here. Sorry, I'm prepared. I'm ready to do math. All right. I have one next to me. This is better because you guys can see it. $1,000 a month. Times 12 months in a year, $12,000 a year, right? Times 5 years, 60,000. That's your total deposit. Okay. So in 5 years, you would have invested $60,000 at $1,000 a month. That brings the total deposit to 60,000. This final balance is 78,351. You've earned $18,000. Okay. So you don't really earn much, right? Look, in what is that? 12 months you earned $596. So that's not a lot, right? It takes you 12 months to make $500, almost 600, round up $600 on an investment in 5 years. So like that's pretty bad, right? I'm sorry, it takes you 12 months. What am I talking about? It takes you 12 months to make $500. Like it's all right, I guess. The reason I wanted to show that 5 years is, see, this green is like interest, right? So let's skip to the end because everyone loves that part. At the end of 60 months, the end of 5 years, you would have made $18,000 of interest. That's $18,000 that made itself, pretty much, right? That you didn't have to work for. That's $18,000 that you did not have to wake up the next morning, get ready for work, but you spent $60,000. Okay, but you didn't lose it, right? Because that CAGR number. So the stocks are going to go up and down, right? I'm just giving you that average number, and you can look at other like investments too. I mean, you can go into like bonds and everything, like E-Trade, Scottrade. These are all things that anyone who's looking to invest should look up. You should want to look up as much as possible. So you're not losing money on this CAGR, and everyone knows stocks, right? You buy low, sell high. So $1,000 a month. Let's say the shares are $100 each. You can buy 10. If they're exactly $100 each, you can buy 10 each month. Well, what happens if it goes up to $200 a share? Now you can only buy 5 each month. Basically, you average out. So that would be 15 over 2 years. So you actually only get 7.5 stocks, which you can't really do, but it's a bad example. You get 7.5 shares, which puts you at that $700, right? At $100 a share. Anyways, so I want to look at these numbers. Let's play with these a little bit. 10. Let's look at 10 years. Okay, so now that green bar starts to look a little bit more appealing, right? And it's all about living on less than you make. Living on less than you earn. Which means that you need to learn to save and need to put money out. 102 months, you make $61,000. But look, you go from 102 months, $61,000. You jump towards 120 months. I don't know why this is like having issues. You get $91,000. So you jump $30,000 in 18 months. So over a year, you make $18,000. Okay, here's my plan. Before people, I'm not wasting your time. Before everyone starts saying I'm wasting your time, 20 years. Now, does that interest bar look a little bit more appealing, right? 18 years, you would have invested $216,000 of your own money, right? $1,000 a month, 20 years. I think it averages out to 22. But okay, look, you deposit $216,000. Within 18 years, you make $422,000. Like, that is double. Like, that is actually, you double your money. Okay. 20 years, you deposit 240, you get 573. That's not $1 million though. Okay. 22 years. 22? Yeah, 22. Here we go. Hey, this is good. So now you start getting to the point where your final balance is over $1 million. Your total deposit, 264, total interest, 766. So in in 22 years, you would have multiplied your money for almost 5 times the amount, right? Okay. So, let's say you are 18 years old. You invest 22 years, $1,000 a month. You work a full-time job. You graduated high school. Maybe you go to college. Maybe you don't. $1,000 a month. You live at home. Like that puts you at. I'm sorry. That puts you at 40. Puts you at 40. So at 40 years old, you are actually a self-made millionaire, and you have only deposited 264. Like you pretty much, you invested enough money to buy a house, and now you have enough money to have like a mansion, basically, for $1 million. So let's show it 29 years. So remember I told you can make $1 million in 7 years? Okay. So in 20 years, 22 years, you gain $766,000 in interest. 29 years, you get 1.9 million, almost $2 million in interest if you just leave your money in there for 7 more years. So 29, like, that's insane. Your final balance, oh yeah, so your final balance is 2.2. Like you've actually, 28 won't do it. Oh, 28 does. Okay, so you actually make, is that 6 years? 6 years. You make another $1 million. You deposit 300 and then you get like 1.7. I'll show 30 years. There we go. 2.5. Like that number's insane. Like I can show 40, right? That puts you at like almost 60. You make 7.4. Like that is insane. The fact that you can make in 2 years, you can go from 5.5 to 6.9. Like I can't even. That's like just to think about that is actually insane. So I don't want to take too much time on this video. There's a lot of questions. I probably got sidetracked a million times. Realistically, though, I think 22 years, $1,000 a month. It's pretty good. Let's say, like, okay, let's say people are gonna say they can't make $1,000. Can you make $700 a month for 22 years? It puts you at $721,000. So, when you make $1 million, when you make $721,000, what do you do? Like, what do you do? What do millionaires do with their life after you made $1 million? So, like the idea of making $1 million, if you invest at your 18, invest for 22 years, make $1 million, you're 44, or you're 40 years old, my bad. You can live off the interest. Because again, if I throw this $1,000 number in there again, how much money are you making? Okay, per year you go from 766,000 to 644. So 766,000 to what did I say it was 664. 102,000. So you actually make $102,000 in 1 year, right? But you couldn't do that starting off. So at 40, your options would be to essentially, like, you could retire. You could retire and on average, according to the CAGR, that 1053 number, $102,000 a year. Like divided by 12 months if you guys want to see that. That's $8,500 you're making each month to sit at home and do nothing. You can work a part-time job. You can make more money. You can continue to invest in that, sure. But like, you literally have $102,000 each year. You're making 6-digit figures every year to sit at home and watch TV. Like, your money works for you, right? Isn't that what I said earlier on? So this video is getting too long. Money works for you. You every year pull out 102,000, or pull out, like, let's say you even need 70 grand, right? You don't even need 100. Then you keep that 30,000, 32,000 or whatever invested, and you just live on 70 grand. Like, you, at this point, I think you get to choose how comfortable and how luxurious your life is. Because remember, early on, you're not going to be able to live that luxurious lifestyle. Most likely, you won't be able to, right? Because you're saving money. You're not going in debt. You're not buying things you don't need. You're not getting 2 mortgages. You're not getting 3 car loans at the same time. You're not going $100,000 in student debt. Like, if you don't do those things, and maybe you live at home until you're 22, 23, 24, or whatever, right? If you have that opportunity provided to you, then you live off of the interest. You invest money at a young age. You get a decent paying job. You don't even need a college degree, right? Maybe you can. Maybe you can go to college part-time. I think that's something all the kids asked me at the college. Or not kids, but all the adults asked me at the college. Was like, hey, I go to school full-time. I guess it just depends what route you want to take, right? I am going to school part-time right now. I do a lot of other business-related stuff. But I go to school part-time. I also feel that maybe, side note here, I'm getting off topic. I feel that maybe people who rush through college and they rush through university, like, do you really value your education? If all you're going to college for is to get a piece of paper, which is what, like, 99% of people do there, are you going for the right reason? Are you going to college because you want a degree, or are you going to college because you want to better yourself, have more knowledge than the person sitting next to you at your workplace? And that will bring its own benefits. I think a lot of people chase money. Like, they're motivated by money, they chase money, whatever the case may be. And that's why I showed these insane 40-year graphs, right? Where you're literally making, like, millions of dollars every year. Some people are motivated by money, and other people aren't. You just gotta 20 years, 22 years, whatever, however much you want to invest, right? I just said that because you will actually be a millionaire in 22 years. Maybe your goal isn't to be a millionaire. Maybe your goal is to have $500,000. Maybe you want to invest, let's say, $500 a month for 22 years. You'll have $515,000 by the end. That's still a decent amount of money, right? 515, you're making. Let me see this real quick. 383, wait a minute. 383, and 332. Making $51,000 a year if you invest $500 a month. S&P 500, 1053, 22 years. All right, so the $1,000 just doubles it to that $102,000. $500 a month, I think, is definitely, it's capable to do. Maybe you don't buy as big of a house, or maybe you don't rent. Buying and renting are, I have different opinions on buying and renting houses, but it doesn't matter. Like, maybe you don't buy as nice of a house as you want to at 30 years old, and you wait until you're 40, 45 years old. You use this money that you can pull all $515,000 out, right? It'd be half a millionaire. And you can buy a nice house with that, or you can continue to live off the interest. Like, whatever money you actually don't, like, if you can live on 51 a year, then live on 51,000 a year. Again, it just depends on how, like, your lifestyle at 51,000 isn't going to be the same lifestyle as somebody who has 102,000, right? because they invest $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month. All right, guys. I feel that maybe I've kind of drilled in my concept here. I did give this to a group of college students. I only had a limited time on YouTube. I have as much time as I want, but I wanted to make sure everyone got the information. Understand that it's not about how much you make, but rather about how much money you invest. Just because you make more money doesn't mean, or just because someone makes more money than you, doesn't mean that in the end you can't be as wealthy and live as luxurious of a lifestyle as they live. Yeah, so I'm going to end this video. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like, a subscribe. I am expecting a lot of questions, actually. So feel free to send me a private message if maybe you don't want to openly discuss your finances. And I have to disclose that I am not a financial advisor. I am not licensed. And that if you are looking for legal advice or you're looking to invest, I will give you the knowledge and information that I have for free to you. But just know that I'm not as, I guess, older as other people. I mean, I have taken economics and I've studied money and I've studied psychology, and that's why I say some people are driven by money, some people aren't. I studied human physiology and anatomy. I used to want to be a doctor. Now I am getting a degree in like business and marketing. So this is all appealing to me because business majors, a lot of people at my school can relate to this. I think we're on the same wavelength when we talk about this. But different people are at different stages in their life, and some people aren't interested in money. Some people they don't want to invest, and I think that's fine. It's not something you have to do, and I feel that people are pressured to do so. Right? You don't have to invest. I just think that it's something to do. You're investing in your future, but like I said before, nothing is guaranteed in life. So some people like to live in the moment. Some people like to prepare for the future. That being said, again, leave a like, subscribe, ask me any questions, leave them in the comments, or if you don't feel comfortable discussing your finances, I have a group of friends that are financial advisors, and I can definitely recommend them to you, or recommend you to them, sorry, and they can help you out with more legal stuff than I can, because I'm not gonna show you how to sign up for Fidelity and all that right now. But thank you all for watching. It was nice being able to speak about money to you guys, and I will see you guys later.
Isn't easy to show with the weight of the world on my shoulders. I know I told you it's the best life I know. It's not a game that I am playing. My love, trying to hold my feet.